and I did kind of go there, didn't I? It's all about freeing the heart. It's about unblocking that heart chakra. And this, Laura, with the work that I do, that I've been doing with Allison, there've been so many times where I'll go through some sort of healing response, healing crisis, because I'm clearing a particular chakra. And she used to laugh at me when I would ask her, well, am I done clearing this yet? Yeah, sure, yeah. Sure, you're done clearing 40 years of trauma in a couple of months, Chanin. It works just like that. But the reality is our trauma is like an onion. And we clear one layer, and this is like our chakras as well. We clear one layer, and oh crap, there's more. And I remember, this was a few months back. It might have been last fall. I was going through something else, and even Allison was just like, "Oh my gosh, there's another layer of this." Yeah, even she was surprised there was another layer. And the heart. And what's been interesting when I've been doing these chakra workshops, the way the divine works is like, because I've been doing them every other week, and like 10 days before I start to prepare the next workshop, I'll start clearing that particular chakra. It's been like that for the first 3. And then the heart chakra, same thing. And I had a tremendous, I can't even begin to describe, tremendous clearing in the past couple of weeks. And on the heart chakra workshop last week, like there were a couple of times I ended up crying in it, because I'm in such a place of surrender and love and unconditional love now. And I can't even begin to describe how wonderful it is. And, and I'm sure there's going to be another layer down the line of more heart chakra stuff for me to clear. But now I'm like looking forward to it, because I'm so happy with the progress that I've made on it now. And so now it's like, oh my gosh, what more is possible? How could it get any better? And that's kind of how I live my life now too, is asking those questions instead of like, oh my God, what else is going to happen? Oh my gosh, what else is going to happen? Totally different mindset there. Same words, but totally different attitude and outlook towards it. But yeah, the harboring of forgiveness, and all different emotions have some bearing on each chakra, because these chakras, they all kind of build upon each other too. But so once you get up to the heart chakra, you've already gone through the root and the sacral and the solar plexus, so you've already been dealing with a bunch of crap. So you get up to the heart, and there can be a lot of stuff to move through.
Any suggestions for people on how to work through forgiveness in terms of clearing your chakras, of starting to unravel that onion?
Well, you know what? Let's do this. One of the things that we do in the vibrational upgrade system, it's called a clearing statement. And I'm going to digress because I often do, and hopefully I'll remember to come back to where we were. But in Allison's free group, it was my idea. I had asked her about this earlier last week. I wanted to, and did, create a Facebook group geared towards healthcare workers and supporting healing and support for them. And I wanted to do daily healing sessions in there for them. And Allison was like, oh my gosh, that's a fabulous idea. Why don't we do that in my group that already has, 125,000 people in it, instead of completely starting from scratch. And so last week we started doing it. Okay, I'm trying to remember where I was going with this. So we started doing these Facebook Lives last week, and these, so what we're doing, and I want to do one with you all tonight, is these clearing statements to help address the fear and the overwhelm and the worry and the exhaustion that all of the healthcare workers and we all as a society right now are dealing with. And so if everyone's open to it, everyone meaning me, you, and Sherry right now, and the people who are watching later, you can say no, you don't have to say yes. But what I'll do is I'll ask something along the lines of, anywhere and everywhere you are feeling fearful, and I don't know what guidance will bring to me, I'll ask, do you want to burn that up with the flames of transmutation? And so what I invite you to do is to say yes out loud, and because that invites the energy in. It really lets the universe know, yes, I want to work through this. But also, whatever ends up coming out, don't sit there and analyze it and go, I don't think that applies to me, because the reality is 85% of our beliefs and such are subconscious. We don't even know what's going on. We don't know what's impacting us. So say yes, trusting that the guidance is coming through for me to offer whatever comes out. How does that sound? Want to do that?
Sounds good.
Okay.
Yes.
So let me, and maybe I'll just do that. Okay, so anywhere and everywhere you are feeling fearful and angry and unsure about your future, anywhere you're feeling like you just want to run away or crawl in bed and not come out until someone tells you it's all over, and anywhere you're holding on to unforgiveness, would you like to destroy and uncreate everything that is causing that for you? And this is where you can say yes out loud.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So all of the karma as appropriate, vows, oaths, imprints, traumas, swearings, judgments, conclusions, decisions, and computations that have created all of that, we're going to burn up with the flames of transmutation. So I invite you to take in a deep breath through your nostrils and hold it for a moment. And then go ahead and exhale slowly at your own pace as we activate the upgrade now. And all of this is now in alignment with our highest and best divine blueprint. And aligning, and all the latent keys and codes and gifts and talents that are within you are now aligning with your highest and best potentials and possibilities. And we'll activate that upgrade now. Okay, so I know that for some people, the mind will go to, what? What does any of that mean? How is that even possibly helpful? But I assure you, those are extremely impactful. And in the various workshops that I've done, people are feeling those within a couple of days. So you could end up feeling, particularly because we are dealing with the heart chakra and a good deal of those, you could end up being emotional. You could end up crying. You could be angry. And so what I encourage you to do, and at all times, not just regarding this only, is to remember that it is okay to feel. It is okay to feel the feelings that you have. And it is okay to express the emotions and the feelings that you have. Because I know a lot of us were told as children, don't be a crybaby. Stop crying, or I'll give you something to cry about. Don't. I know one of the things for me, and this kind of relates to this, is children are meant to be seen and not heard. And I remember, my dad, like so many parents in my generation, would spank us. And quite often, in that time, the moms stayed home. And so it was, wait till your dad gets home. So you live in fear all day, waiting for dad to come home and punish you. And my dad was one of those people because of his upbringing. Go to your room if you're going to cry. And, big girls don't cry. And so I ended up stifling all of my emotions and not crying. And a lot of that led to my old black heart chakra. So, so I really encourage you, because I know so many of us were raised that way. Maybe you even had an older brother or sister who made fun of you if you cried. Maybe you were a sensitive child like I was. And even when I was, when in my 30s, and my whole extended family got together for Thanksgiving, and up until that time in my life, it had been the family joke that it wasn't a holiday until Chanin had cried for one reason or another. So, yeah. I was a middle child and a middle cousin. So I regularly felt left out and unwanted. But now the awesome thing about the work I do is I can tell you guys, ladies, all of these traumas that I've been talking to you about, and I don't feel the emotion anymore. I don't cry about it. And it's not because it's not sad, but the work that I do cuts that mind-body connection so that we remember, yes, that happened to us, but we don't feel the anger, we don't feel the grief, the sorrow, and and eventually that unforgiveness.
Mm-hmm.
So I totally digressed, did I? Maybe.
Well, into important things.
It's true. And that's funny. I had mentioned that to Allison when I did my first workshop. I was like, yeah, I totally went off topic a lot. And she's like, well, that's because you were meant to. I'm like, good way to look at it.
Yeah, I mean, kind of one thing leads to another, right? And then the thought goes in that direction. And
yeah. So go ahead. You got another question for me?
Yeah, I'm curious. We started before this, but does not forgiving others only affect us, or?
And it doesn't. We like to think that our unforgiveness is harming the perpetrator. And I do want to tell you this too. When we forgive people, we are not condoning their action. We are not saying that it was okay for them to say mean things to us or beat us or whatever it was they may have done to us, stolen money. We are not condoning that behavior. The forgiving people is all about us. It's all about our own well-being. Now, so to answer that question though, if we think about our thoughts and feelings as energy, if we believe that, and science will prove this, that we are all energetically connected. Think about when you walk into a room and you might go, wow, the vibe in here is really tense, or, oh, I really like the vibe in here. It's going to be fun. That's energy. And so you are picking up on the energy that other people are putting out there. And it's not just condensed to your own little bubble in your house. It's not condensed to the meeting you go to or the bar you go to. It spreads throughout the world. And right now, and by right now, I don't mean right this very moment. I mean, in the past several years especially, our world is so full of divisiveness and anger and hatred and meanness. And it's contagious. It's that mob mentality. It's that hysteria. And that's what the media has been putting out there. And I'm not downplaying the seriousness of COVID-19. Yes, let's all stay home and try to break this thing. But the media, I won't digress. It puts out that vibe of fear and that vibe of panic. And we all sit there and we watch it, or we read it on the internet, and we all share stuff. And then we're all like, oh, and that's the vibe. And that's what we're feeling, especially for people who are empathic and sensitive. We're taking that in. And so unforgiveness is also an energy. It's that energy of anger, of sorrow, of fear. And so we are putting that out there, and we are impacting not just ourselves, not just the people in our household, we are impacting the collective. And because how many billions of us are in the world? I can't keep track anymore. 6 billion, 8 billion, you know, or just the United States alone, what, 350 million? And especially in the environment we've been in the past few years, it's just out there. And so for me, it is no surprise that we are dealing with this pandemic. It's based in the lungs. The lungs are about grief, and it's ruled by the heart chakra. And so yes, forgiveness absolutely impacts people other than us, or unforgiveness, whichever way you want to look at it.
What if you're seeking forgiveness from someone else? How do you think about that?
And like I said to you earlier, just give up on that. You're going to be getting old and gray. You know, I mean, if it's like a family member, especially your household family member, your spouse, your child, there's absolutely nothing wrong with, again, expressing your feelings. And you can say, you know, John, what you did really hurt my feelings. And I'm really sad about it. And I wish you would never do that again. And then but don't make it necessarily a goal, getting him to feel bad and wrong and apologize to you. The goal is to express your feelings so that you get it out and you don't get it stifled inside of you to cause a blockage in your heart chakra. It's really kind of selfish.
What if you really hurt Johnny and you're seeking his forgiveness?
Well, we should definitely do that.
So what if he's unwilling to forgive you for something you did? How are there things you can do to approach that?
You know, and all you can do is express your sorrow and your regret and apologize. And if he chooses to not accept it, well, guess what's going to happen for him? But he's going to be having that blocked heart chakra. But you did your part and you did the right thing and you apologized and hopefully changed your behavior so you don't have to continue to apologize for the same thing. But we can't control other people's behavior. All we can do is set the example of how we wish to be treated, for one, and how we think everyone should be treated. You know, recognizing, of course, that, and that we're all doing the best we can in any moment. Mm-hmm. And that's a big part of my forgiveness journey, Laura, is, let me think about this for a moment. Where does this want to go? I talked about this on the Heart Chakra workshop last week. So let's see, when was that? So 2008, my husband and I got married out in the rocks in Sedona, Arizona, in our hiking boots. And the day before, this minister, shaman guy who married us did our premarital counseling, you know, the day before. And he was he was like 6'4", this tall guy. And we were talking about whatever we were talking about. And suddenly he stood up in front of me, you know, this booming, huge guy, and he pointed at me and he sternly said to me, if you don't stop beating yourself up, you are going to die of cancer. And I'm like, how does he know I do that? Because we weren't talking about that. But he was a cancer survivor. So it was very personal to him. And because I grew up, I spent my whole life beating myself up. I became, because of my upbringing, and this is partly heart chakra, being an approval seeker, being a perfectionist, and never feeling I was good enough. And so I was always, and this was, part of it was just in my head. It was my perception of what I thought that my parents wanted based on the way they raised me, because they didn't know any better. But so where was I going with all that? Okay, so Greg recommended, this was the man who married us, he recommended me, referred me rather, to this counselor here in the Twin Cities. Her name was Mavis Karn. And during one of our sessions, she said to me, we all do the best we can with the knowledge we have at the time. And those words changed my life. And so that was 11 years ago, just about. And I mean, it took me really until last summer to truly get it. You know, like I was aware of what it meant, and it helped me to stop beating myself up a little bit. But last summer, I got the opportunity to write a couple essays for a book called 365 Soulful Messages, the right guidance at the right time. And so I wrote about this story I just told y'all. And when you can truly embody and understand that statement, we all do the best we can with the knowledge we have at the time, you can get to the point where you can more easily forgive people. And with my second ex-husband in particular, and I have a daughter with him who will be 22. Oh my gosh, she'll be 22 in 15 days. She really struggled with her relationship with him after he and I divorced, and we had joint custody. But I would tell her, and this was before I got this whole concept, you know, I would tell her, your dad loves you and he's doing the best he can. And yeah, he's kind of a jerk, but but she was a teenager at that point. I wasn't telling her anything she didn't already know. She actually went a whole year without talking to him. Actually, she doesn't talk to him anymore. But I got to work on her heart chakra. But I got to the point with him some years ago, before I even, like I said, knew this concept, where I felt sorry for him, because I recognized that he had his upbringing that caused him a lot of trauma, whether it was perceived or real, because sometimes it's not real, it's just how we perceive it. And once I could feel sorry for him, then I could forgive him. And it was so freeing to not have that anger towards him anymore, because it wasn't hurting him. Again, he wasn't hurt by my anger. He wasn't hurt by my unforgiveness. It was only harming me. And so yeah, that and so when we think about that concept, then we can start to apply that to our parents, because which one of us, maybe there's a handful of people who have said to our parents, I'm never going to raise my kids the way you raised me, I hate you. So when you can get to that point of recognizing that your parents also had their own crap to deal with, and so that's why they raised you the way they raised you. And reality is, this goes back many, many generations, and it carries forward. And at some point, hopefully one of us gets to a point of healing where we can stop the cycle of whatever it may be that needs to be stopped, whether it's abuse or anger or alcoholism, those sorts of things. I can go on about all that too. But yeah, it's to the forgiveness aspect, and linking it to the compassion. It's all goes hand in hand. But when you can get to that point and you can forgive people because you have compassion, it's the chicken and the egg. I'm not quite sure which comes first. I think in my example with my second ex-husband, it was the compassion for me that came first, and then I was able to forgive him. And maybe that is most reality most of the time. I'll have to do a study.
Yeah. So you've sold me on the forgiveness and why it's important and all of that. What suggestions do you have on how we work on forgiving ourselves and others?
Yeah. There are all kinds of exercises we can do. I think, and maybe in a little bit here, maybe in about 10 minutes, we'll do one of them. We'll do a visualization. One of the things, let me think about which one wants to come forward. This one is so easy, and I like to tell the story. I like to do this with the full moon, although sometimes you might need to do it more regularly. But the full moon is, for many people, is about releasing and releasing the past and letting go of old hurts and wounds. And so what I encourage people to do, and what I had been doing, is you get a piece of paper and a pen or a pencil, and I haven't talked about this, but the first person you put on there, the first thing you write is, I forgive myself. Okay, we haven't talked about self-forgiveness. That could be a whole other chat. But that's the first place we have to start, is with ourselves. So you write, I forgive myself. And if you got people in your household, put them down, because they've probably done something to tick you off that month. So I forgive my spouse, I forgive my child, I forgive my mom. And then just start writing whatever comes to mind, or whomever comes to mind. And don't analyze it. Just start writing down the names. And this was some months ago. I had an 8.5 by 11 notebook piece of paper, and I had 3 columns. So I don't know, what's that, like 120 names? And I filled up the whole sheet. And as I was going through it, I wrote, I forgive Shelley. And I'm like, Shelley? And Shelley was a girl from when I was about 5 years old who stole my wagon. Right? Now, I hadn't thought about that in 40 something years, but that's an example of how deep our unforgiveness is buried. It's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to, because it's so buried inside of us. And so, so do that process. And for some people, they might come up every month. And some people, like Shelley, I don't think she ever came up again, but it's an excellent process to go through and just do that. And you can do it weekly too. If there's something in particular that's really weighing on your heart. That's a good one. Another one too, I'll throw out there is, come back to me, it went away. I always mispronounce it. I think it's called the Ho'oponopono prayer. It's the Hawaiian prayer. I never pronounce it right. That one is fabulous as well. And what you can do after you do this sheet of paper, you know what? Why don't we do this? Why don't we do this visualization? Okay. So having in mind that we've written out this piece of paper with all of these names of people that we need to forgive, whether we were aware we needed to forgive them or not. They weren't necessarily in our conscious mind. So let's do this. Let's take in a couple deep inhales and exhales. And then let's focus on our heart for a moment. And just envision this beautiful white light within our heart. And it's so big that we can stand or sit inside of it. I like to stand. And this is from within your heart. And so you can just feel the love from that light surrounding you. And now, picture standing in that light with you, one of the people from your list of forgiveness. And that person is facing you. They're standing in front of you, facing you. And now, if you like, imagine a big, thick black cord connecting your heart to their heart. And that cord represents whatever it was that they did that harmed you. Now picture a big pair of scissors coming in and cutting that cord so that both pieces just drop to the ground and disintegrate. And now you're freeing yourself of that connection to them. And now I invite you to imagine a beautiful beam of light, beautiful white light beaming from your heart to their heart. And this represents the forgiveness. And now you can say to that person, if you like, I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me and thank you. And imagine them receiving that and you receiving it in return. And feel the love and the freedom. And when you're ready, just watch them turn around and walk away out of your beautiful bubble of white light. And then when you're ready, you can just open your eyes.
I really like that black cord and then being able to cut it and have it disintegrate. That's like, that was very powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like that exercise. And then, and so what one could do is, daily, I would suggest daily, just go through your list of people and go through that practice. And sort of like what I said earlier, some of the people you may have to do repeated times until you feel that freedom. You might still, that cord might keep growing back because it's really deep rooted and it just keeps popping up like a weed. And that's a good way. That's a good way to look at unforgiveness. It's a weed.
Yeah. It's funny when you said about that sheet of paper, I'm like, well, I'm not conscious of, feeling that I need to forgive anybody for anything. And then all of a sudden things are popping into my mind.
Yeah.
I wonder if I could fill up, I'm not exactly conscious of it, except now little memories are coming in and there's more of them than I thought.
Yeah. And it can be surprising because you might be thinking, well, I haven't been thinking about that. I haven't consciously been concentrating on this. But the reality is 85% of the decisions that we make every day come from our subconscious. And what's in our subconscious are the beliefs that come from our childhood.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are not healed of all those false beliefs and traumas, 85% of the actions you make every day are coming from your wounded inner child. So if that's not a reason to do some inner work, I don't know what is.
Yeah, thank you. I found it very useful. That was very helpful for me too.
Yay, I'm glad, Sherry. Thank you for that feedback.
And one thing that came up today is that I was telling some people about the far past. And it was a warm conversation because I'd already been doing the Ho'oponopono to forgive those people over the years. And so I could talk about that comfortably. And then I was telling the person about some recent stuff that had happened at work. And we both got really cold during the discussion. And so then as it started and you started talking about forgiveness, I was aware that, oh yeah, I hadn't forgiven those people at work. And the coldness is what kind of set me off, like, oh yeah, it's still out there. And so when we did this, that really helped. I could really feel like, oh yeah, that black cord really was there. It really was icky, and it felt really good to cut that black cord and shine the white light on it, and to say, that I'm sorry, that I want to forgive them for ask their forgiveness, and shine the white light and have them turn around and walk away. And that just felt so good. So thank you very much.
You're very welcome. And I applaud you for being aware of recognizing the effect that you felt, that coldness. That's awesome. Yeah, I have them walking away. That's new. That hasn't come up when I've done that before. So that was a gift from my guidance to you all.
Thank you. That's very good.
Yeah.
So Chanin, the classes that you have created around the chakras.
Yeah.
I mean, is there a need? I'm not sure how to ask this question. Is forgiveness in every chakra, or it relates the most to the heart chakra, or because those classes seem to be all kind of intertwined together?
I feel that overall, the physical effects of forgiveness is greatly within our hearts. Now, the reasons for forgiveness could be located in all of the chakras. The events and such could have impacted your other chakras, but the effect of the unforgiveness itself is grief and anger. That's greatly, and it's not, and I will never say it's any specifically only in one chakra, but I would say it's greatly in the heart chakra.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I had something at work happen last week that got me really upset, and my heart chakra did close. Mm-hmm. And I was just exhausted for 4 days. And finally I reached out to my friends and said, please pray for me. And one of them messaged me back and said, your heart chakra was closed, so I opened it for you. And then right after that, I started to get my energy back and started realizing, oh yeah, I was upset. And I think that's when my heart chakra closed. So what you just said makes total sense to my experience this weekend.
I love it.
You're very true.
I love it. And the title of this was Take Back Your Power with Forgiveness. And one of the reasons I didn't come up with it, that's what I was given, is because when we are harboring that unforgiveness and we are stuck in anger, because anger is very much behind the unforgiveness. We are sour. At first we feel sadness over the loss, whether it was our loss of trust, loss of self, loss of self-image, whatever it was, loss of property. But it really is, it's really that anger. And I mean, try to picture what your life is going to be like when your underlying current, your underlying energetic current is one of anger. Mm-hmm. Are you going to see the possibilities out there? No, because you've got this lens of anger, and people are against me, and people are trying to hurt me, and whatever crazy places our minds want to take us. You can't see through the eyes of love. Wow. Because you're stuck in anger. And when you can clear that heart chakra and clear that film of anger and such from your lens, now you see the world differently. You see the world full of hearts. and you can see the blessings and the synchronicities that are there for you, instead of just being, life sucks and I hate people, which is which is what, the mindset a lot of people come from, unfortunately. And so, yeah, so that's why it was titled Take Back Your Power, because you are taking back the power that you have given essentially these people over your lives because you're still mad at them. You're taking that power back from them and creating the life full of, like I said at the beginning, love and joy and possibilities.
And
It's
I think
possible.
the other thing that just happened to probably everybody is with this virus and having to be at home, like when I would go to work, I would have time each day as I would go walk the halls, to go to the break room or whatever, or on my break to, I would see people and I would talk to people. And now I'm home and I get to work from home starting tomorrow. And I won't see anybody in the hall anymore until this is over because I'm the only one in my home. So
Yeah.
I will only see the people, the emails and things. And I think that brought up a lot of grief for me last Friday.
Mm-hmm.
And just realizing, like, I feel like I've been, you know, like somebody was saying on Facebook, I think Mother Earth sent us all to our room for a timeout.
Yes.
And a lot of us are in grief about that, like, oh, we didn't do anything that wrong, and like, Mom, please forgive me, I didn't mean to do that,
Yeah.
and we're feeling that we are asking for forgiveness, but we're just starting to become aware that we need to ask for forgiveness.
Yeah, I agree 100%, Sherry. Yeah, I'm so, and I was saying this to Laura at the beginning, I'm so excited to see where we're all going to be when we get past this. It's going to be a brand new world. It's going to be wonderful. I believe that 100%, because we are as a society now becoming less inward focused and me, and it's about how can I help? What can I do to not give this to other people? What can I do to help my neighbor, my elderly neighbor who can't go out? What can I, we're becoming other focused. We're becoming heart-centered focused. And a lot of people are resisting it. But it's starting to, I mean, it kind of has a negative connotation, but there's that shame factor now. There's that, where, for the people who aren't social distancing, who aren't essentially being caring about how their actions are impacting other people. And I'm excited to see what comes of all this, because there's going to be such a huge shift in humanity.
So that kind of ties in maybe to your new program that has compassion. Tell us about that.
It does. That was a really good segue. I didn't even plan.
Yeah, good job.
Yeah. So a dear friend of mine named Helen Faith Drummond, she's in my mastermind group with Allison. She lives over in the UK, and we created an ebook and a video about love, compassion, and forgiveness. And, the ebook has, a little bit of information about each topic, and then different exercises you can do to develop love. And of course, I mean, I can go on about that all forever, but you can watch the video. You can watch the video because I'm giving it to you guys. And we did a video and an ebook, because love, compassion, and forgiveness are all intertwined, and you can't have one without the other. And I'm so passionate about it, and I feel like I'm very much in surrender to the universe as to how the light vessel is going to evolve, and what my purpose is for helping humanity. And I feel like it's very much going to be focused on helping people develop love, compassion, and forgiveness, and clearing their systems so that they're able to do that. So I'm anyone who has registered for this, whether they're here tonight or not, I will send the links so that you all can do it. And sometime soon I'll be actually releasing it for
Very
sale.
generous. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. It's my honor. It's my part to help humanity move forward.
Any other questions for Chanin about forgiveness or any of the things she's talked about tonight?
That was very helpful. I can't think of another question about it.
I'm glad, and if you have any, you can, well, you'll get my email address, so you're always welcome to email me or call me. And sometimes soon too, I do also do individual healing sessions for people that involve the energy healing and more clearing statements, like the one we did, a whole lot more. So I'll be having a sale coming up pretty soon. I haven't decided what, so I'll let you all know about that. And then next week, Laura, I'll send you the information. I'll do the throat chakra workshop online, and that's a big one. They're all big. They're all important in their own different ways. So I'm really excited to do it.
That sounds very useful because my throat has been just minorly sore for the last 10 days. And so it probably has something to do with speaking up, or just that this whole situation doesn't really, it's not a great time to speak up. Like there's so many people talking about the virus and working from home, and I don't want to be repetitive. And so then I'm not speaking up, and that's the whole throat chakra thing. And so even though my throat chakra is still open, it's still not, it doesn't really feel like a disease. It feels more related to not knowing what to say.
Yeah, I think a lot of us are there right now.
Yeah, so I think your throat chakra workshop will be at an excellent time for a lot of us.
Yeah, it's just been so cool, the timing of it all. I'm just in awe of the universe.
Mm-hmm.
Chanin, any parting words or summary or anything on forgiveness? What you'd like to leave us thinking about, or?
Well, I strongly encourage you to take it seriously, the forgiveness aspect. I can't strongly encourage you enough to go through the practices from the Love, Compassion, and Forgiveness program that I'm going to email to you all. And parting words, all is well. And you matter. You matter to me. You matter to Laura. And you are safe. That is a huge one. You are safe, and you are loved. You are loved no matter what you're feeling. Just remember all of that, because it's so important. And last thing, I guess, is we're all connected. That is the message that keeps coming to me again and again and again to relay to people is we are all connected. We do not live in a bubble. And reach out if you need it, if you need encouragement, love, whatever it is.
Thank you. Thank you for being here tonight too.
Oh,